If you want to climb the Masters, you won't be able to do that, Kaisa. Believe me, buddy. Believe me.
Well, Master on Kaisa top lane. Bit of context here. But before the video starts, I'm doing a giveaway for reaching Master. More info at the end of the video. Alright, so 2 months ago, I made a video talking about me reaching Diamond 4 on Kaisa top lane. And to be honest, after reaching that rank, I really thought, well, that's it. Now I'm gonna be hard stuck since my main account was stuck in D4 for months. But nope, in 28 games, I went from D4 all the way to D1. I was like, wait, is that easy to reach Master on this pick? But again, no. As soon as I started to face D1 to Master top laners, I got a heavy reality check and went on a losing streak while getting turbo stomped versus matchup I should win. If you know how Diamond works, then you might know that there's a big difference in skill between a Diamond 4 and Diamond 1 player, to the point where that Diamond 1 player can smurf hard in D4. Thing is, a Diamond 1 player makes way less mistake and way more consistent at their champ and playstyle, so for me, being a new Diamond player, I was facing people that were flat out better than me. The good thing is that my playstyle was good enough. So I only needed more practice, and so 50 games later I was able to be comfortably in D1, and after one failed promote after getting some interesting teammates, let's say that, I was able to reach Master on my second attempt. Nice. But to be honest, I'm still shocked I was able to reach Master tier so fast. One thing for sure, I never improved that much at League of Legends in such a small amount of games, in all my years of playing this game. Going top lane was probably the best decision I ever took. So here's the 2 biggest things I learned from my climb. Now, even if you don't play Kaisa, it's fine, because these tips concern most people that play this game. Firstly, don't be scared of trying new things. Before playing top lane, I was hard stuck D4 P1, because my macro and positioning was just lacking. Now you might say, well, just learn and apply them, right? Well, it's not always that easy. Wave management, for example, is really support dependent. If you have brand support, you can say goodbye to any wave management because it's gonna mess up the wave anyway. Even when you have a non-tele support, they can always take your full HP cannon randomly when you're trying to freeze. Also, trading with the enemy ADC is, to be honest, not always needed, because you can rely simply on your support and jungle to engage for you, so you're never really forced to learn it, which created a really bad habit for me, relying way too much on my support and jungle to carry me through laning phase. And well, breaking those habits takes a lot of time, but when I go top lane, I simply don't have a choice to learn those concepts. If I don't have good spacing, I will feed. If I don't have good wave management, I'll die non-stop to ganks. Playing Kaisa top lane forced my brain to learn those skills, whereas bot lane it was not always needed. Which is also the reason why I felt I was improving so much game by game. And funny enough, when I went back to play on my main account, I was able to push my account from P1 all the way to D2 in a matter of weeks, just because I applied what I learned top lane. Point is, if you're someone that is stuck and you feel like your games are going nowhere, even though you try to learn, then maybe try something different, like a similar champion in a different lane for example. Meta or not, don't limit yourself to the meta. League of Legends is a game with a lot of depth. You can climb playing so many things. You can learn so much about League by just playing something different time to time and then applying that to your main account. Secondly, I said before but I'm gonna say it again, junglers are predictable. It might surprise you, but even in low masters, I barely get ganked. And the reason is simple. I try to give the enemy jungler the least amount of setup possible and I don't take any chances. If I see the enemy jungler bot lane, I know I have 1 to 2 waves to crash the current wave, so I'm safe from ganks. Even if the jungler doesn't end up in top lane, I'm playing safe. And this is even more important in early levels. Just remember that junglers most of the time, if you start bot, will be top lane by around wave 4, wave 5. So if you have early pressure, simply do a 3 wave shove, so push wave 1, wave 2, and hard shove wave 3. But please, don't shove wave 4. Don't even contest it. Control your senses and just back off. Play his vision and let the minions do the job for you. It's simple as that. And this also applies to bot lane. You don't need to shove every wave, by the way. Now, of course, good wave management and jungle tracking cannot save you from every single gank. Some are just impossible to predict, but it should prevent most obvious ganks. Alright, I made a couple Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and for the rest of the video, I'm just going to go over a few questions that I found interesting to talk about. I'll leave the links to the MEAs in the description below if you want to go over my answers. Do you buy tier first and start stacking or go for hammer? Well, it depends. In some games like versus Jax or Darius, since it's a high volatile matchup, I'm forced to use my Q way more if I want to farm, so most of the time I will run into mana issues. In this case, it's better to get tier first on your back. But versus more chill matchup like tanks or overall easy matchup like Singe, you shouldn't run into many mana issues. So hammer is better overall, because you get more AD which is better for your poke. So overall, when you're back for the first time, if you feel like you use your ability too much, get tier, if not, hammer. Why do you go the AP route and not the AD or hybrid? If you watch my matchup video, I do go hybrid versus ranged matchup, like Queen or Vayne, because in this scenario, I can snowball the lane. But yes, versus every other matchup, I go for pure AP Kaisa, and the reason is simple. I prefer playing it safe and going for scaling, but you can 100% go hybrid versus most matchup top lane. Many streamers already do it already. But careful, when I say most matchup, it's because versus Darius, you kinda don't want to build Shiv since you don't want to push the wave into him. But let's take Urgot as an example here. Now on paper, Kaisa counter Urgot not because you destroy him in lane, but because mid-game he's useless. He's slow, has a massive hitbox, making him into an easy target for you. But in lane you have two ways to approach this. You can play safe or aggressive. If you play safe, you're giving up kill pressure on them. At this point, you depend on your team to not get destroyed early game. But overall, when you reach students, if your team is ahead while Urgot is still 0-0-0, you win the game. Even if your team is a bit behind or neutral state, your pressure can carry the game into a win easily. The one moment where you lose is if your team feed. But now let's say you want to play aggressive. This is way more risky because you're playing more in front and it's easier for Urgot to hit this stuff and kill you. But it got a big payout because if your play succeeded, you can hard stomp in, getting kills and plates and super early, allowing you to hard carry the game. It's a bit like if you went to the casino while playing blackjack and you have served a pair of 10s. You have two options here. You can split the 10 and hoping the next two cards will be high so you can double the money you can make, or you can stand the 2-10 and play safe. One option is risky while the other one is more safe. Me personally, versus an Urgot, I will always prefer to stand and play the scaling game. How do you play the mid to late game? Do you join your team or stay top? Every game is different, but there's a few rules I have to follow every game. Number 1, when objective spawns, be with your team. It's the whole point of AP Kaisa to put pressure on the enemy team so you can get objective easily. When there is no objective on the map though, always try to stay around mid as much as possible, so I can put pressure on the enemy's carries since they are the squishiest. I only go back top lane when I need to push a wave, when I have my TP up, or when I need to match enemy top laner, but overall I stay near mid and near my team around objectives. What's next for me? Challenger? No. With less than 20 days to the split, I decided to just take a break from League and do other things. Touch some grass, and I'll just try to finish low master this split. But for sure, next split, I'll keep pushing and who knows, maybe I can get Challenger. That would be crazy though. Alright, giveaway time. By the way, the next giveaway will be at 50 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated. Anyway, I'll be giving out one epic skin to one NA player. I can't do EU sadly, so I'm sorry for AU players. So if you're from NA, just need to subscribe and put in the comments, I participate. And that's it. I'll pick one winner in 6 days on this Sunday. Just make sure to have your notification on because I'll notify you by hearting your comment and commenting. Alright, good luck and thanks for watching.